Live, Commissioner.
Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners work session. It's November 4th, 2021. It's 3:01 p.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. To my left is Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards. To my right is Commissioner Carolina Mejia. We have Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell. We're here for a half-hour briefing with respect to the Parks, Arts, Recreation, and Culture Foundation, or Park Foundation. This meeting is live streamed on the Thurston County YouTube channel. I can't read.
It's Jim Camper.
Jim, oh, okay, Jim, yes. Yeah. Good to see you, Jim. And we're just gonna, how is this gonna proceed, Robin?
Well, we're going to be joined by Beth Dolio and James Reddick. Beth is the board president of our organization, and James is the founder. But I can begin while we're waiting for them to join. Thank you for taking a moment to meet with us. We've reached out to the county in hopes that you will join us in our efforts to serve, oh, there's Beth, to serve as the role of the nonprofit and foundation conduit for funds that might come to support county projects, arts, culture, parks, and the others. And so some nonprofits, of course, will not give to a city or a county or a government entity, but will give to a nonprofit. So we, in the areas we're working, which include Olympia, Lacey, and Tumwater, we serve as that role, and therefore we can receive funds that can be tax deductible from the donor and such that can support these projects. Great, there's James and Beth. I think you all know each other. So I thought that we might start with a little, because James founded the organization, a little context in terms of sort of where we came from and some of our banner efforts. James, do you want to go ahead and jump in there? Oh, you're still on mute.
There you go. There, that better?
Good.
There was three of us back in 1998 that saw a need for some type of public foundation to support the Parks, Recreation, and Culture departments of Thurston County. Main person that was helping me, I don't know whether you remember Jane Bobel. She was the park director for Olympia. And so we got it started. And then there was some talk of each of the departments wanting to have their own 501c3. And we would have been, what we talked about was the departments would have all been going to the same people for the same money without any coordination. And so we made it and put it in that it was a Thurston County-wide foundation that would support all the cities and all the county, and from that standpoint, in helping them to promote recreation, parks, and also seek funds for supporting their programs and facilities and constructions and things like similar to that. We were the private side originally for the skate court in Olympia. And we went out to businesses and got money to match what the city had agreed to put into that. We've also, over time, we've been able to establish about $100,000 in our endowment that we have. And we also have one fund, which is the Jocelyn Dome Fund, which was given us for choral music. And we have about $200,000 or more in that right now. And we've been using the interest off of that to support groups in the community. This summer, we used it to promote the Quarry Pool and fund the concert that was down there in the summer in the dry Quarry Pool, and got really good response from the community down there. We've also done such things as be the 501c3 for Lacey's fireworks jubilee in the summer. where we contracted with the fireworks company down in Portland. And then the city went out and got donations, sent them through us. We paid for the fireworks, but the city coordinated everything. So from that standpoint. So, and we've worked with some smaller groups, some nonprofits that weren't really nonprofits, such as South Sound Hounds, which was seeking to support dog parks. They've now disbanded, but they left all the money that they raised, which was about $5,000 to us. We put that into our endowment. So sometimes a lot of people have great ideas. They get started with a nonprofit and they're just unable to keep it going. This way, we serve as their 501c3. And then if they leave or they can't do it, they can donate the money. You know, it's our money then, and or they can take it to somebody else or donate it. But we work that way. Go ahead.
I think the best way to think of us is like the community foundation that supports social service agencies in the county. We are a 501c3 that can support parks, arts, recreation, and culture by going out to foundations that require a 501c3 to grant to. So let's say the county had a trail project that you wanted to do and you were putting some public dollars into that, but you also knew of, or we were able to find an opportunity to go out to a foundation and say, this is a great project. We would love to serve as a 501c pass through. In some cases, we could work with your staff to write that grant. We could, provide that service to you as a county entity. And us as the nonprofit actually doing some of the grant writing and the work to bring those dollars into the county. So it's, that's really, I think, the relationship that we are seeking and striving and trying to build our capacity. So in the past 2 years, COVID really slowed things down like it did many things. James has been able to negotiate a memorandum of understanding with Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater to provide that formally. So they are actually giving us money to provide that service to them. So we in turn are professionalizing our operations. We've hired Jim to come in and help put together a funding plan for us and really build a membership base. So building our own base of private donors that then we can grant out to different projects, and also then building out. We now, thanks to Jim's work, have a very clear sense of private foundations that we could go to seek funding for different projects in the community that are happening. And I would say, I feel like we are bursting at the seams in terms of big projects in this community that really are going to, really deepen our quality of life when it comes to parks, arts, recreation, and culture. And having this coordinating body and really building out Park Foundation is something that we have a very committed board and a lot of people interested in doing. And really want to figure out if this is a relationship that works with the county.
Hey, Beth, I wanted to tag on to that just a little bit. We do have a city council member from Lacey as our financial committee chair, Cynthia Pratt. We also have the mayor of Tenino. Dwayne is on our board of directors. Just so you know, we've got a pretty good, solid group of people backing us. But I think one of the most poignant things that's come to my attention lately in terms of our capacity to help communities. The city of Olympia, city of Lacey, city of Tumwater have full staffs to do all kinds of work and to write grants and such. And they do pretty well at getting public and private money through us. But the call that was most poignant to me was the call with the city of Yelm. and their parks director. He applied for a number of grants and just simply wasn't eligible because he was a government entity. He did not have a park foundation to back him on this, and he was saying, "My gosh, this is a godsend to us," and he's really hoping to work it through their city council. Certainly, the former mayor, who's Lame Duck Mayor, who is an awesome guy, is on his
Mayor
way,
Foster.
but he was also very supportive. Yeah, exactly. So I think I think that there are different utilities for different communities. The smaller communities, I think, will benefit very much from Beth and my experiences with the capital budget, the state capital budget, taking a look at those dollars. Where could they be applying, making sure that their grants to those or those local and community project requests align, look good, have a fineness to them that will get them through that process. And then the bigger cities, they may just use us as a repository or maybe ask us to help, back them on some grants. But it really is a county-wide utility. And it's not just the three big cities. And I think that's what is so important about this expansion of the Park Foundation and our request to you to establish a memorandum of understanding as well.
Do you all have any questions for us? I think we've met with each of you, so.
Yeah, this is a rehash. We pretty well covered this, but kind of interested in how we could put it to work.
Do we have a copy of the?
I have a copy of the Olympia, I think unless it's changed, I think James or Beth, one of you sent this to me back when we
Yes.
met a few months ago. So I have that, you can take a look at.
Thank you.
Could we get a copy of what it would look like for Thurston County? I think that would be useful. And then I guess I'll ask the price for it. Or what would it take for us to join into this MOU?
Well, obviously, great. We will be happy to provide you with a draft MOU for your staff to review. I don't know if that takes a vote of the commission or any of those things, but you all can work that out. Each large city, which would mean Yelm, Olympia, Lacey, and Tumwater, we've asked for an investment of $10,000, which really just gives us the capacity to bring on the team that we need and to move this thing forward in a more formal manner. It's been a little informal and effective as informal, but this allows us to formalize it, gives us that startup capital to bring me on to help with fundraising and organization, to have somebody enhance our communications and outreach a little bit more. It just gives us that seed money. The county is, of course, a much larger entity, and you cover the entire county. And currently, we don't have relationships with the smaller cities. We don't have MOUs with them. We're kind of bringing them along without an MOU. So the county's support really helps us provide that service to those smaller communities, in the southern part of the county, Rainier, Tenino, and Rainier and Tenino mostly. So our ask to you, Commissioner, was a $20,000 investment because of your geographic size vis-a-vis the cities.
Currently, Tumwater is only at 7,500 because they haven't met the same threshold as Lacey and Olympia.
My mistake. Thanks for the clarification, James.
I guess, I don't think we've changed our park staff much yet. I know we're talking about doing something in the upcoming budget, but we've got about 5 or 6 employees in our park department. And I think that Lacey has 38 or 39. So it gives you a little sense of what we're up against from a budgetary position.
The cities also have, at least 2 of the cities have park districts and are able to collect money to support their parks. The county does not.
And Commissioner Edwards, I think that's an important point. Of course, the smaller jurisdictions we talked about in the south part of the county, your district actually, I think, were the ones that really said that this cover could be very helpful to them. And I suspect we could be very helpful because all the parks leadership in the county and the cities are well aware that there could be grants out there, and they either don't have the time to go get them, they don't have the capacity to go get them, or they're not able to receive them. So that relationship, leveraging those private dollars to maximize the work that you do as government is I think, potentially exponential for the county, as it is for the smaller jurisdictions. It's really creating those public-private and nonprofit partnerships that are just, gold when it comes to financing good projects.
Well, this sounds like a good idea. I guess from my position of always trying to protect our general fund and find money elsewhere, I mean, I'm pretty consistent on that. Is there any way we could get a sense of how that investment might turn into X for the town of Rainier, or something like that we could refer to as, an investment for the dollar expended, you might say. What is possible, not that we could automatically get it or automatically be eligible, but just as an example of what might work. I know Tenino is working on a theater project down there. I don't know exactly where they're at. I've contributed money to that particular endeavor. And so I don't know how it would fit. This is all, at least it's new to me. I don't know about my seatmates, because we never get a chance to talk about this kind of stuff unless we're in a position like this.
Mhm.
So that's kind of, I like to know kind of what we're getting and what the benefit and what would be the sales pitch for us as elected officials to justify expenditure.
Well, I think that's an exciting idea, Commissioner Edwards. And I think that the question that I would have back to the county manager is, could you give us access to your parks folks to see if there have been opportunities that we could have fulfilled that the county didn't seek because they didn't have a partner like us? I think it might be a very interesting conversation to hear that, oh gosh, we could have gone for this grant, but we didn't, REI grant for trails or whatever it is. So I think that we can bring to the table a few examples of opportunities. But I think a poignant one would be if there is something within your Parks Department that they just simply didn't pursue because they couldn't.
From my perspective, I'm not bashful. I like to have our folks talk to whomever they can talk to. But just recently, in the last year, we spent $1 million on a trail upgrade where the railroad had blocked our trail access, and really it was quite an expenditure for what we got. I'd probably cry if I was told I could have spent $100,000 and got a $900,000 grant. But I mean, I'll just use that as an example, and we took that out of the fund probably that we would be taking something out to contribute towards your organization. So I'm interested. It's just, I gotta know what it would be as a benefit to the taxpayers overall. And if you have contacts in any of the parks departments that maybe interact with our folks, we've got a relatively new parks director right now that maybe he does have that kind of stuff. To be honest with you, I don't know about my seatmates, but we hardly have time to talk to anybody when it comes right down to it, to be able to find out that kind of stuff. So if you have contacts, boy, I like to have you out there exploring and pointing at it.
One thing that
you're all busy people probably too, and what a barrier that we're all up against, I guess.
One thing we try to do, and we haven't the last couple of years, but we try to bring all the agencies together yearly and just talk about what each other is doing and kind of get a sense of what they can do. I know that at one thing, Tenino was requested, they said, well, we'd like to do geodata of our park. Well, Tumwater had geodata equipment, and so they just loaned it out to them, but they didn't know about that. So having that regional meeting helps out and talking. We were able to get the $5,000 to finish up the grant from Burlington Northern, with Burlington Northern on the caboose down at Tenino. We've been able to develop a relationship with Burlington Northern and Burlington Northern has two grants. They have a grant for nonprofits, and then they have a grant for cities and counties. And that might have been one that you could have applied for the trail, and maybe you didn't know about it. But I know in Spokane, the Burlington Northern gave tons of money to fix up a riverfront park here lately in downtown Spokane. So that's a thing that we started developing a relationship with. So those would be the things that we would try and be the resource for.
And as a taxpayer in Thurston County, I love the idea of bringing non-taxpayer money in to support our projects. So I think I'm hearing where you're going with that, Commissioner. Correct me if I'm wrong, but let's see what we can get you to get you a little warmer. How about that?
How long have you had your MOUs with Olympia and Lacey and Tumwater?
Lacey's was signed in, I think it was back in May.
Very recent.
Yeah, but then we just updated it recently so that we get them all. Tumwater and Olympia they finally finalized theirs on November 1st.
Oh, just ink's not dry yet. Okay.
Yes.
All right, good.
And we're having a meeting with the park leadership, the three directors, regarding a draft work plan. We will meet with them either once or twice a year to go over the draft work plan that we will work on for them from that standpoint.
Actually, I think we're meeting quarterly.
Quarterly.
Is it quarterly?
We bumped it up. And then we would include your park folks in there. And I think that that's a really excellent opportunity to cross-pollinate and to find out what other groups are doing, what state funds they're tracking, what foundation funds they're tracking. And, there are many foundations that if they've made an investment in Olympia, we are on their radar screen in this region. So Lacey Tumwater would be a great opportunity, to maybe make an ask to that same group. We've brought on a really top-notch grant writer to do an evaluation of our grant proposal. He's come back with some really solid recommendations, and those that invest in in the foundation with their MOUs will have access to that information, and we will be hopefully supporting the parks teams in making those grant requests.
We also, when Tumwater went for their MPD district, we have a 501c4 that we can do for political to support you and things like that. We had a donor who gave us money for that to put up radio announcements in support of their MPD to get the word out what it is and things like that to the community.
Robin, did you have something?
No, I just was starting to get a little uncomfortable with the political.
It's only about
So
supporting.
I'm gonna ask them to not continue to talk about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if a member of our team, whether it's Ed, Jennifer, Ramiro, I don't know what's the right level, but could sit as a fly on the wall in one of your meetings with the cities so that we can kind of hear I don't know if that would be appropriate, but just so we can kind of get a sense of what projects are being, what's being discussed and what kind of stuff is moving forward as a result of this partnership that you have with the cities. And then they can report back to us and tell us, hey, I see how this fits into the county's work or county's project. I don't know, that's just a thought, hearing what you're saying. Commissioner Mejia, do you have anything?
No. Sounds good.
Romero and I'd be happy to follow up and perhaps hook our parks folks up, review the MOU, and bring this back for board discussion.
Okay, that sounds good.
Excellent. Any additional questions from the commissioners or?
No, I think
Okay.
I've got it.
Not hearing it.
Sounds like we'll follow up with county manager.
Sounds good, sounds like a plan. Thank you
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be adjourned.